Kneels in Spartan hands ash, and what arrow? Freya's witchcraft did not break Odin's cloak. Ragnarok swallows the wind. Most think this is about gods falling. It is not. This is about shadows outlasting thunder whispers in Yggdrasil's roots, hands unseen weaving fate's threads. Freya's witchcraft did not break Ragnarok, it bent it. The 9 realms cracked not from war, but secrets buried deeper than the well of Erd. What lingers is not death. It is the cost of a silence that never ended. What if the Vanir didn't perish in Ragnarok, but outlived it by rewriting its outcome? Freya's sorcery bent the war's edge, not to stop it, but to reshape its end. The Aesir fell as myth remembers, yet their dominion fractured not from Odin's blade, but from a spell woven in silence. Vanir blood mixed with Yggdrasil's roots, binding fate's threads to a new loom. The 9 realms shifted, power pooled where it should not. Seeds of a new order bloomed in ash. Who paid the price for this theft of time? The Vanir's name fades, but their echoes linger in forgotten rites, in queens who dream in tongues lost to fire. Was Ragnarok's end a victory? Or the first breath of a shadow longer than the gods' own shadows? In Asgard's fall's shadow, Freya wove spells in twilight's marrow. Her hands, stained with extinguished stars' ash, cradled Mimir's severed head. Not bone, not flesh, something between. The scent of bloodroot and elderbloom hung thick, a brew steeped in whispered oaths. She did not resurrect, she rewrote. The head twitched, its hollow eyes igniting with non-worldly fire. Mimir's voice, fractured yet cunning, spoke truths that bent air like heat over a forge. Freya's coven knew power's price. To cheat death is to barter with shadows. Her blood, mixed with world trees' tears, bound the head to her will. Yet Mimir's mind, a labyrinth of Aesir secrets, became her weapon. When Ragnarok's wolves howled, she whispered in King's and Jotnar's ears. A name here, a prophecy there. The head's counsel shaped battles like clay, its knowledge a scalpel cutting through chaos. Did the gods sense their doom was guided by a Vanir sorceress? Did the Norns, weaving threads, feel a hand not their own tugging the loom? The 9 realms trembled. Freya's magic did not shout, it seeped. A draft in a mead hall, a dream in a warlord's sleep. She did not storm Valhalla. She unraveled it from within. Mimir's head, now her design's keystone, became a storm's anchor. His words, laced with half-truths, turned ally against ally. The Aesir, blind to Vanir's shadow play, fought extinction with one hand tied. What does a goddess sacrifice to outlast an apocalypse? Freya's price was silence. Her name vanished from sagas, her deeds buried under myth. Yet in cracks between endings her influence lingered. The head, now dust in a jar, once held a fate rewritten. Did she escape Ragnarok or become its hidden architect? The 9 realms remember only the storm, but the storm, dear listener, is not the whole story. Some powers do not burn, they smolder, waiting. In the shadow of Asgard's fall, Freya wove her spells in the marrow of twilight. Her hands, stained with the ash of extinguished stars, cradled Mimir's severed head. Not bone, not flesh, something asterisk between asterisk. The scent of bloodroot and elderbloom hung thick, a witch's brew thick with whispered oaths. She did not resurrect, she rewrote asterisk. The head twitched, its hollow eyes igniting with a fire not of this world. Mimir's voice, fractured yet cunning, spoke truths that bent the air like heat over a forge. Freya's coven knew the price of such power. To cheat death is to barter with shadows. Her own blood, mixed with the tears of the world tree, bound the head to her will. Yet Mimir's mind, a labyrinth of Aesir secrets, became her weapon. When Ragnarok's wolves howled, she whispered in the ears of kings and Jotnar alike. A name here, a prophecy there. The head's counsel shaped battles like clay, its knowledge a scalpel cutting through the chaos. Did the gods know their doom was guided by a Vanir sorceress? Did the Norns, weaving their threads, sense a hand not their own tugging the loom? The 9 realms trembled. Freya's magic did not shout, it seeped asterisk. A draft in a mead hall, a dream in a warlord's sleep. She did not storm Valhalla, she unraveled it from the inside. Mimir's head, now a relic of her design, became a keystone in the storm. His words, laced with half-truths, turned ally against ally. The Aesir, blind to the Vanir's shadow play, fought their extinction with one hand tied behind them. What does a goddess sacrifice to outlast an apocalypse? Freya's price was silence. Her name vanished from sagas, her deeds buried under layers of myth, yet in the cracks between endings her influence lingered. The head, now dust in a forgotten jar, once held the key to a fate rewritten. Did she escape Ragnarok, or did she become its hidden architect? The 9 realms remember only the storm, but the storm, dear listener, is not the whole story. Some powers do not burn, they smolder waiting. The Fimbulwinter bites, ice claws the roots of Yggdrasil. Kratos and Atreus stand at the fulcrum of a dying world. Their choice ignite the storm or smother, it becomes the spark. Freya watches, her silver wolf bristles. She has spent centuries burying Vanir blood beneath Aesir lies. Now the lie cracks, she could let the gods burn. Let the Norn's thread snap, but the frost is not just death. It is a chisel. She walks to Kratos, no bow, no blade, only a witch's price. Her eyes hold the weight of 1,000 silent funerals. You will need more than rage, she says. Her hands move. Ice becomes ink. Runes bloom across the ice. Not to stop Ragnarok, to bend its shape. The storm rages. Odin's corpse falls. Thor's hammer cracks the sky. Freya's spells do not shout. They whisper, they weave. A net of shadows catches what the fire would consume. The Vanir did not march into war. They wove their will into the storm's bones. Freya's magic is not rebellion. It is salvage. She does not save the Aesir. She saves the gaps between their ruins. The 9 realms remember the fire. They do not feel the hands that plucked their ashes from the void. Atreus kneels at the realm between. The ice thaws. A seed grows where the world split open. Freya's last act is not a curse. It is a door. The Vanir live, not in halls of power, in the breath between heartbeats. In the shadows that outlast the blaze. What do you call a war that never happened? A choice that rewrote itself. The storm is not the whole story. The silence after is where the survivors speak. The Vanir did not perish in flame, they vanished in ash and shadow. A debt paid in stolen breaths, Freya's hands slick with unspoken oaths blood. The realms forgot their war, but the earth remembers vanished bones wait. How many lives to buy one future? The frost of Fimbulwinter still clings to Yggdrasil's roots. Odin's severed head, buried in the earth, whispers no prophecies now. Only the wind gnaws through the hollows where the Allfather's wisdom once roosted. Freya's tears, salt and iron, seeped into the soil. Did they nourish life or choke it? Mortal villages emerged from the blight, but their fields bore twisted grain. Children were born with eyes like cracked amber, seeing shadows that should not move. The Vanir vanished, but their absence was no mercy. A silence thick as gravecloth draped Asgard's ruins. In Niflheim's depths the dead do not rest. Wraith's murmur of a bargain struck in the throat of Ragnarok, a name traded for a breath, a realm's survival etched in blood, not meant to bind. Freya, veiled in her husband's stolen cloak, walked the line between worlds. Did she weave spells to spare the weak or to chain the strong? The Norn's loom lies silent, their threads, if altered, frayed into new patterns no god can read. The 9 realms breathe, but their pulse is uneven. Crops wither and bloom in seasons that no longer align. Kings rise on lies that taste of ancient magic. And in the marrow of every storm, a question festers. What did the Vanir sacrifice to make the world forget? The answer lies beneath the soil, where Odin's blood and Freya's tears have fused into something neither god nor curse. A seed, a wound, a choice still growing. The cost was never in the dying, it was in the remembering. The seed of what was sown in blood split open the bones of the old world. Kratos, once a blade without a hilt, became a shield for a boy who was never meant to be. Atreus bled frost and fire, a name rewritten as Loki, his shadow lengthening into a storm the gods could not outrun. Freya moved through ash like a ghost of her own making, her hands stitching wounds no seer could predict. Did the Vanir queen trade their dying breath for a slower burn? The 9 realms choked on their own endings, yet here stood a mother and son, neither fully what they were, both fully what they had to become. Kratos learned to carry silence where his fists once spoke. The ghost of Sparta had no tomb, only a boy who asked questions he could not answer. Atreus, heir to a legacy of lies, sharpened his tongue as keenly as his blades. The boy who wept for father became the wolf who howled at the moon's old debts. Freya watched this dance with eyes that held deeper frost than any Jotun heart. She had buried her kin in the roots of Yggdrasil, but her hands did not rest. Witchcraft, not war, became her weapon. She did not break the Norn's threads, wove new ones, frayed and trembling, around the edges of what was meant to be. The Aesir fell as foretold, but their shadows did not. Freya's pact with Kratos was no surrender, it was a mirror. She saw in him the same weight she bore, the cost of outliving a world you cannot unmake. Her magic did not cheat death. It bent it like a tree bending in a hurricane, roots gripping the storm. The Vanir's fate, unspoken, but in the hollow where Asgard burned, a new prophecy took root. Atreus, the boy who would be Loki, walks it now, and Freya, the witch who became a queen of ashes, follows. What survives when gods forget their names? Not rebellion, not redemption, a choice still growing. The 9 realms stand, their bones unbroken. The Vanir's handprints are gone, but their shadows linger. Freya's name is not spoken in temples, yet her spells hum in the air. What remains of a god who chose silence over war, a whisper in the blood of oaths, a thread in the loom of fate, pulled taut but unseen. The realms breathe, unaware their survival was bargained, not earned. Ashes coat the old gods' thrones. Freya's witchcraft did not kill the world, it folded it, like a letter sealed with frost. No rebellion, no triumph, only a door left ajar, its key dissolved in the sea. The Vanir, if they live, do not rule, they watch, they wait. Their power now is not in storms or swords, but in the gaps between heartbeats, where forgotten magic pools. What did Freya sacrifice to make the end begin again? The answer is written in the stillness. The realms do not know they are held together by a single, unbroken spell. And in that quiet, the Witch Queen's choice grows rootless, relentless until even the stars forget what came before. The gods fall, the gods rise, the difference is who walks beside them. Kratos, once a storm, now treads with Freya, who spells outlast thunder. Atreus stands where Baldur's light once burned. Odin's spear meets Tyr's empty hand. What is power but a shadow cast by those who learn to wait? Freya's curse made Baldur unbreakable. She wove it to shield him from death's hunger. But a shield is only a blade turned inward. The spear found its mark. The curse became a lie, yet in that lie a truth. The Vanir did not perish. They unraveled the threads no god could see. The 9 realms breathe not because of Aesir valor, but because a witch let her love become a weapon. No war was won in silence. No fate is written in ash. The Vanir's rebellion was a whisper between heartbeats, a spell cast when the world was blind. Freya's hands did not shape destiny. They held it still long enough for it to change. And now, in the quiet after storms, the realms remember not the gods who deed but the witch who lived. The cycle turns, but some turns are slower than others, and in the space between, where even time hesitates, the Vanir's shadow grows, not in wrath, not in war, in the quiet, relentless act of being the last to look away. The Vanir did not fall, they folded into the world's fabric, they were woven into storm's breath, blades rust, oaths ache. Freya's hands, stained with Mimir's severed neck's ash, did not weep, they worked. A god's power lies not in her blade, but in threads she weaves. So she stitched the executioner's head back into the cycle, his wisdom preserved in a gourd, his voice a whisper in Yggdrasil's roots. Did the Aesir know their doom was not in the wolf's jaws or serpent's venom, but in a goddess loom who never ceased spinning? The 9 realms burn, yet Mimir speaks. The Vanir's rebellion was not a roar. It was the pause between heartbeats, the unbroken thread when all others snapped. What remains when gods become ghosts, not their wrath, not their wars? The quiet persistence of a head without a body, a voice without a mouth, a power that outlives the blade that sought to end it. The realms will forget the Vanir's names, but they will not forget the threads. What other shadows did their hands shape? Whispered spells, not swords, turned Ragnarok's tide. Did the Vanir bind their fate to the realm's bones, unseen? Secrets linger in ash where their rituals were burned. The next dossier unwrapped.